Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Barbara and today we're going to be looking at the fifth house and creativity. So very excited to get into this video. It's basically going to tell you how you guys express your creativity. Now keep in mind, if you guys do have a planet in there, it's going to add a whole different layer to the story. Also, for those of you who are using the Placidus system, you might not be seeing a particular sign in a house. This means that that sign is intercepted. The energy is going to be a little bit more hidden. So you're going to basically have to work even harder to pull that energy out. Definitely check out my video on intercepted signs, planets, and houses so you guys can see how you can figure out what sign you have in the fifth house. One more thing that I do want to mention is that creativity is psychic energy. It is an idea that you are channeling through and you are applying it in one way, shape, or form, whether that is writing, whether that's singing, whether that's acting. This is really all psychic energy. So let's go ahead and get started with the sign of Aries. So for those of you who do have Aries in the fifth house, the way you guys express your creativity is going to be very much physical. Aries is a physical sign. It's all about the physical body. So you guys can be very expressive, okay, in the way that you guys express things. You guys might be interested in things like sports, dancing, really moving the physical body, even if it's something in theater, for example, that's very physical, very expressive, really using your body to create art in one way, shape, or form. Maybe you guys are going to create a new form of art. I mean, I'm sure it exists already, where it's like you're creating a masterpiece with like people posing and like not moving and kind of like a live art. You know those like street artists, the ones that are like frozen? This would very much be Aries in the fifth house. Also, you guys are going to be very much starters. So you guys are going to be the ones who have the ideas to start a project. It can go in any realm of life, really, if you think about it. It can be at your work, you guys have the ideas. It can be in your business. You guys are going to basically be the initiators. That's the thing when you have Aries in the fifth house. Next, let's look at Taurus in the fifth house. So for those of you who do have Taurus in the fifth house, the way you guys are going to be expressing your creativity is going to be through the finer things in life. Taurus loves the luxurious things in life. So for those of you who do have this placement, you're probably going to be interested in having a luxurious home. You know those homes that have those like gadgets, or like Kim Kardashian's home where you couldn't find the sink? Very much Taurus in the fifth house. That's the energy, is that Venusian energy. You're pairing the creativity with luxury. You can also see people who have this placement interested in purchasing very expensive paintings for their home. Really collecting beautiful art pieces is really what that is when you do have Taurus in that fifth house. It is ruled by Venus. So you guys are really going to be liking the finer things in life. Now keep in mind, Taurus does deal with money. So those of you who do have Taurus in the fifth house, you guys could always think of creative ways to make more money, to get money, to basically start new things, start a business, all these sorts of things. Any sort of idea that we have is creative energy. So these are a few ways that Taurus in the fifth house can be expressed. If you have Gemini in the fifth house, you're going to be someone who is all about communication. So for you, your creativity is going to be expressed through the written or the spoken word. Now, I do find Gemini, they do tend to have a shorter attention span. So it is probably going to be something more so like poetry, shorter stories, one-liners, logos, things like marketing for firms or even yourselves if you're working for yourselves. That's really that Gemini energy. The best way for you guys to express your creativity is going to be either through writing or through speaking. So it can be things like the spoken word. It could be things like videos like this. I do find that Geminis do tend to be very funny. So some of you guys might be interested in things like stand-up comedy, really doing things to make a crowd of people laugh. That's really one of the many talents that Gemini in the fifth house does possess. If you have Cancer in the fifth house, this is going to be an interesting placement to have because there's so many ways that this energy can really go. Cancer is very much emotional in a positive sense. Okay, I feel like a lot of the time when we say emotional, people connect it to negativity, but you guys feel a lot of things. You guys feel everything. So usually what I suggest for all of the water signs in general is to take your emotions and create art with it. Find an outlet for it, a way for it to be expressed. The way you guys express this can really go so many different ways. It can be through singing, it can be through acting, it can be through writing a book, these types of things. It can be through painting. It can be through really creating any art form that you guys want. The world is your oyster. You guys are taking certain experiences that have happened to you, these emotions that you guys have felt, and basically portraying them in one way, shape, or form. Cancer in the 5th house is going to be very good at creating emotional connections with people. So you guys could even be interested in things like screenwriting, film writing, anything really that holds the attention of the audience. It could really go on a range when you do have this placement. Alternatively, Cancer does deal with the home, so you guys might be most creative when you are in your home. You guys might even be interested in expressing your creativity through cooking. So there's a wide range of ways that the Cancer and the 5th house individual can express their creativity. If you have Leo in the 5th house, this is your place to shine. You guys are all about creativity. Your whole essence and being is really about being creative. You guys really love to have the attention on yourselves. You guys really love to express. How this might manifest can go so many different ways. You might be interested in acting, theater, film. You might be interested in comedy, stand-up comedy, making people laugh. Leo in the 5th house can be very funny. You guys are very in tune with your inner child. So it can be things like teaching, working with children, working at a daycare. It really depends on the rest of your natal charts. But really the possibilities here are endless. Anything that basically gets to get you guys in front of people on a stage of some sort, maybe even videos like this, would very much be Leo in the 5th house. The end goal for you guys is to be seen. How you guys go about that, again, is creativity. So there's so many ways that this can manifest. It could even be things like leadership positions, entrepreneurship, really being creative in your business, really having, that new idea that you guys bring through that maybe nobody has ever done before. So that's if you do have Leo in the 5th house. Next, we have Virgo in the 5th house. This is going to be an interesting placement because I find Virgo to be very good at whatever it is that they choose to do. They're very much all about attention to detail, focusing on things, perfecting their craft. So really it's going to depend on the rest of your natal chart to see how you're going to express your creativity. Creativity can be expressed so many ways. It could be painting, it can be writing, it can be singing, it can be ideas for your business. It could be things like in your home, decorating it, making it look nice. The thing is, for a Virgo and the 5th house person, they're going to be very much perfectionist. So they're going to perfect whatever craft it is that they choose to do. So it's really up to you guys and the rest of your natal chart to see how this is going to be expressed. I can even psychically see things like, let's say you guys work in a nursing home and doing little crafts and maybe, doing a holiday party or whatever it is. So whatever task that it is that you guys pick, you're going to execute it until the end. It's going to look very nice. It's going to look very beautiful because again, you guys are all about attention to detail. It could even be things like embroidery, anything that really has to have the energy focused on one thing, any sort of artistic endeavor that basically takes a longer period of time, focus, perfection, attention to detail is really what that is. It could be things like you're sewing beads on dresses, these types of things like sewing, embroidery. Again, attention to detail is really the name of the game if you do have Virgo in the 5th house. Next, we have Libra in the 5th house. So this placement, very creative. Libra's Venusian. It's all about the finer things in life. So there's so many ways that this creativity can be expressed. Most of the time with Libra in the 5th house, you'll see that it's going to be through the way that they dress. It's going to be through their fashion, through their clothes. They could even be interested in things like interior design, having a beautiful home. It's all artistic things. That's really how a Venusian person exists in this world. It's their whole essence is going to be pretty much creative. Now, in terms of endeavors, the Libra in the 5th house person might be interested in the fashion industry. You guys might be interested in creating art and painting and interior design and even working with high-end brands, styling people for fashion shows. Again, anything that really looks beautiful put together is really going to be Libra in the 5th house. Scorpio in the 5th house, this is going to be a very interesting placement to have in terms of your creativity because you're really taking those dark emotions, those traumatic experiences, those hard experiences that have happened to you, and you're transmuting them into art. It's always my suggestion for all water signs because they're huge feelers. They feel everything, and basically a good outlet for them is art. So in terms of Scorpio in the 5th house, this can manifest many ways. It really does depend on the rest of your natal chart. You guys could write about these experiences. You guys could paint about these experiences. But there's always going to be a little bit of a darker twist or more taboo twist. You guys are going to bring certain things to the surface. Things like nude paintings, right? Or nude pottery. Things even like photography of this essence. This is really going to be a Scorpio in the 5th house person's way of expressing, because again, it's taboo topics, but they're bringing them to the surface. Alternatively, it could be videos like this. You're doing astrology and you are finding a creative way to express this taboo topic. Anything to do really with the occult, things that are hidden, you guys are taking them and bringing them to the surface. I'm really seeing that Frida Kahlo artist actually, in terms of the way she would paint things, had like a darker twist to it because she really took her life experiences and put them into paintings. So this is really if you do have Scorpio in the 5th house. If you have Sagittarius in the 5th house, this is an interesting placement to have because Sagittarius deals with a higher mind. It deals with your education. It deals with travel. It deals with foreign languages. It deals with living abroad, all these sorts of things. Most of the time, Sagittarius goes off, learns, comes back and teaches something. This is how you guys are going to be using your creative energy. It's going to be through your ideas. It's going to be through speaking something, through communicating something, through teaching something that you guys have learned, some form of new belief system, some form of new philosophy. You guys could also have really creative ideas in terms of where to travel, maybe having a travel blog, maybe giving other people ideas of places to, I don't know, take Instagram pictures, right? You know how everyone has like certain places that they travel to and then they pose in that particular place. Like this would very much be like a Sagittarian in the 5th house person. You guys could think of a lot of different ways to put this creativity together. You know, the worlds of creativity and art and travel is really going to be the name of the game for you guys. Also, another thing, let's say you guys did take the more traditional route of going to do your master's, PhD, or just higher education in general. You guys are going to be very good at expressing this. So you guys are maybe going to have really creative classes. Maybe you're going to be a professor and like everyone loves your class because you guys are funny and you guys like just keep the attention of the audience. That's the thing with the Sagittarian energy. They're very good at keeping the attention of the audience. So you guys are always going to find a way to express this energy if you do have Sagittarius in the 5th house. If you have Capricorn in the 5th house, this is an interesting placement to have because Capricorn is very much about work, about climbing the social ladder and climbing the ladder of success. So when you do have Capricorn in the 5th house, you guys are going to find very creative ways to express this. It also does deal with your public image. So you guys might have a certain particular public image, a certain way of expressing yourselves that's going to be your trademark only. Everybody's going to know you for this particular style that you guys have. When you guys have that Capricorn in the 5th house, you guys might find creative ways to express your goals. It could be this way as well. Again, creativity can be ideas as well. So you guys can have a lot of different ideas, maybe for a business that you guys are running, or if you're working in the corporate world, maybe for everyone, you know, in the office to get together. Maybe you guys have a holiday party or whatever it is. Maybe you guys think of a game of some sort. But keep in mind, Capricorn in the 5th house, you guys are always going to have the end goal of elevating your status. That's the whole thing here. So you guys are only going to take on tasks that are basically going to get you to this end goal, or at least you guys feel like are going to get you to this end goal. So most of the time it's going to be in your career, in your business. You're going to have all these ideas. How can I do this? How can I, bring people in? How can I make this different? How can I make this better? So this is if you have Capricorn in the 5th house. Next, we have Aquarius in the 5th house. Very, very interesting placement to have because this can go on so many different ranges. You guys can be a full-blown artist, maybe even a musician. It kind of depends on the rest of your natal chart, really, because you guys are going to be eccentric. You guys are going to be out of the box. You're going to be different. The way you dress is going to be different. You're always going to be drawing attention to yourselves. You guys are also going to be very much ahead of your time. So you guys can also be trendsetters when you have Aquarius in the 5th house in terms of clothes, in terms of style, in terms of hairstyle, in terms of so many different things. It's like the way you guys just express your essence is just going to be different. In the beginning, again, people might find you quirky or just eccentric, but it's kind of like that musician energy is really what that is. They're just different. They're ahead of their time. They have a certain style that they express. And that's really Aquarius in the 5th house. Now, another way this energy can be expressed is through ideas that are going to basically connect a lot of people together and propel the collective forward. It can be things like technology, maybe thinking of new apps, maybe thinking of a new invention of some sort. It's really, really all about the mind. Aquarius in the 5th house wants to be known for their mind. So whether this is being expressed through music, whether this is being expressed through technology, or just the way that they dress, this is really going to be Aquarius in the 5th house. Finally, we have Pisces in the 5th house. This energy can be expressed so many different ways. Pisces deals with spirituality, it deals with romance, it deals with love, it deals with unconditional love, it deals with the bigger things, the bigger dreams, the bigger visions, all these types of things. So for those of you who do have Pisces in the 5th house, the way you guys express yourselves is going to be very much through this way. It could be through your spirituality. It could be through your ideas, your psychic visions. You guys could talk about these sorts of things, maybe making videos like this. It could also be through things that create illusions of some sort. So it could be maybe film, screenwriting. It could be things like makeup. It could be things like art, painting. It really can go on such a huge range because it's like you guys just have so many ideas. You have a lot of this psychic energy, and there's a lot of emotions attached with the Piscean fifth house. So because you guys have a lot of emotional energy as well, what I've been saying for all the water signs is most of the time you'll see that these individuals express their emotions through art. It can be through singing, it can be through painting. There's so many ways really that this energy can be expressed. It really depends on the rest of your natal chart. But that's really what's going on here. It's creating some sort of illusion. It's creating some sort of emotional reaction or emotional connection with the audience. I mean, this could even manifest, let's say if you have a business, you guys can find a way to get an emotional reaction out of people, because ultimately that is what sells at the end of the day. It's when you create an emotional reaction or create an emotional connection with your audience. And a Piscean fifth house person is going to be very good at that because they're going to find a way to, again, connect with the audience. So again, screenwriting, even making commercials or even marketing where again, you are getting some form of emotional reaction out of people. You guys are going to be able to pair a perfect song with a moment and all these types of things. It's just going to create that emotional reaction out of people again, where people feel connected to whatever it is that you guys are doing. So my dear friends, this is my quick little video on how you may express your creativity based on your fifth house. I do hope that you guys did enjoy it. If you did, please do like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you all have a beautiful rest of